What's up, guys? It's Tony. Today I've got my little Western Conference preview for you guys. Not going to put the teams in order per se. Got my laptop here. We're going to be on the tier maker, as you can see. And instead of obviously just power ranking the teams, I like tiers. I think it's less controversial. I think it gives more of I'd say an accurate kind of look at the teams. So, yeah, let's get right into it. Obviously, we're just doing the West right now. I know I have all the teams here. But, yeah, let's get right into it. We're going to start from the top, obviously, and with the contenders. And I will put... we're going to start off with the Western Conference representative from last year's finals, the Phoenix Suns. Nothing much has really changed with this team. You can argue that their path to the finals last year was a bit fraudulent. And it obviously helped them, but I think they're still a legitimate team. Chris Paul's back. DeAndre Ayton might be getting extended. We don't know yet. Oh, another thing before I really get into this. This is before any Ben Simmons trade. It's also assuming everyone's healthy for the most part. Obviously, for Kawhi for the Clippers, he's probably not gonna play much this year, so kind of just taking him out of the whole equation. But yeah, the Suns are my first Western Conference contender here, along with the Los Angeles Lakers. Pretty cut and dry. You have LeBron James. If he's going to be healthy, they're probably going to make at least the Western Conference Finals, you'd have to assume. If AD stays healthy, that's going to be interesting. And obviously, with Russell Westbrook, if they can actually gel, it's going to be a very dangerous team, especially in the West. I don't assume the Lakers are going to get a top 2 seed with all newer, I guess. LeBron James-led teams, they take a long time to actually start to gel, and I anticipate some early growing pains from this team. But, I mean, in the playoffs, I'd probably have LeBron over a lot of players in the NBA right now. Going on to my third and final Western Conference contender, I have the Denver Nuggets. I'm not sure about the timetable for Jamal Murray. I know he'll probably be back later in the season. But that team was just harped with injuries last season in the playoffs. Jokic MVP last year. I think they can do it. I think they can make a run at least at the Western Conference Finals. I know they're going to have to play probably the Jazz, Suns, or the Lakers in the semifinals. They can push. I think a healthy Nuggets team, fully healthy, could come out of the West. Obviously, right now, maybe not. But I have a lot of faith in this Denver Nuggets team. I have a lot of faith in Michael Porter Jr., a lot of faith in Jokic. I think they could make a run. Into my playoff locks portion of this. First team, obviously the 1 seed from last year, the Utah Jazz. I'm not totally bought in. I'm not totally sold on the Utah Jazz as necessarily a finals contender, as the top 3 teams are. Obviously, because Rudy Gobert is kind of polarizing in his play on offense as well as defense. I can't really trust a guy like that. I mean, even though Donovan Mitchell was there, I can't trust a guy like that to take his team too far in the playoffs. But I still do think they're going to be very good in the regular season, like they always are. Probably them and the Suns are probably going to be the top 2 seeds in the West, followed by obviously the Lakers, Nuggets, hopefully. Along with my second playoff lock, I guess. The Golden State Warriors. I know Clay's going to be out the first portion of the season. I don't find that to be a big deal per se. As long as Steph is healthy, as long as Draymond's healthy, Jordan Poole should factor in very well for that team. He's going to be good. If Wiggins plays like he did last year, he's going to be good. They're going to be good. I hope Kuminga and Moses Moody get a lot of PT. I think they play fairly well on a playoff caliber team, and that's obviously the aspirations that the Golden State Warriors have. You could argue that they could be contenders. Not sure yet. We have yet to see what Klay Thompson's going to look like when he comes back. So right now they're going to be the playoff locks. Obviously, if I redid this middle of the season, I could argue that they're playoff or finals contenders. But for right now, this is where they're going to be. My last team for the playoff locks portion of this, we're going to have the Dallas Mavericks. I just trust the Dallas Mavericks. I trust Luka, I guess, at this stage more than I trust Dame and the Trailblazers. I know that's kind of an interesting statement, but if Luka gets any help from Porzingis or Tim Hardaway Jr., which he's going to get help from them, at least in the regular season, I don't see why this team is... I don't see how this team could fall into the play-in bubble, I guess. You saw what Luka did last year in the first round against the Clippers. If he stays healthy, they're almost certainly going to make the playoffs. So yeah, hopefully we can see him progress past the first round this year. That'd be nice, but we'll see. In the play-in bubble, Trailblazers are coming in first. Obviously, with the whole Ben Simmons situation, don't know necessarily what's going to happen with that. McCollum could be on the move, even though Dame will be staying. That's an interesting team. I don't expect them to get out of the first round anymore. You saw last year they played the Nuggets, who had basically a backup backcourt tandem, and the Nuggets still 1-6. So they're going to be good in the regular season. They're obviously not what they were years ago. But I think they'll still make the playoffs. They just probably won't make it into the first round. My next play-in bubble team. Going to go with where are they at? The New Orleans Pelicans. A lot of people, including myself, thought that they had a pretty down off season. They did get better. I like the Valanciunas pickup, especially giving away Steven Adams and his massive cap hit. I think they have... No, they don't. They traded Eric Bledsoe. No more Eric Bledsoe. That's good. I like Devontae Graham. I don't know how he's going to figure in with that team. It all comes down to how Zion is utilized in the offense. I know when they were giving him kind of the point guard duties at the end of last season, he was doing really well. I'm not necessarily, expecting much, but I think this team could make the playoffs, obviously, along with the Memphis Grizzlies. I want the Grizzlies to make the playoffs so bad. I just don't think they will. Obviously, the Western Conference is very stacked. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this team. They're going to be pretty good. It all depends on what Jaren Jackson Jr. does and if they can stay healthy. I like this young core. This is a very good young core. But, they made the playoffs last year. I don't think anyone expected them to win their play-in game against the Warriors last year, but they did. Almost took a game from... Or did they? I think they might have taken... I'm pretty sure they took a game from the Jazz in the first round last year. I really like this team. I know a lot of people like this team. But when it comes to making the playoffs, I'm not sure if they totally have it. Similarly with the Clippers here, I don't know how to gauge the Clippers. I don't know what this post Kawhi Leonard Clippers team. Well, not post. This Kawhi Leonard team. Just PG running the show here. Obviously, I know in Indiana led to them to the playoffs. He's in the Western Conference now. You got to remember that, folks. Paul George is in the Western Conference. The team isn't as good as it was last year. Obviously, taking a player away like Kawhi Leonard, that's what will happen. I think I want Paul George to succeed this year so bad. I am probably one of the biggest Paul George fans I know. I want him to succeed. Logically, I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. I think he's going to put up pretty good numbers. I don't think they're going to win enough games to make the playoffs, though. They might not even make the play-in. But we'll see. We'll see. Moving on here, we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Timberwolves, kind of a bit of a dark horse to make the playoffs. They're a lot better. I know the splits with D'Lo, Cat, and Anthony Edwards, I think. I know they're very good together. I know Jared Vanderbilt, who's only going to play the 4 unless they get Ben Simmons. I know he and Karl Anthony Towns complement each other very well. Do they make the playoffs? I don't think so. I think they're going to be very good there, though they're going to show some actual promise as opposed to years prior. That's all I have on them. The Kings will not make the playoffs. They're not going to be bad enough that they're going to tank, be tanking. But the Kings are going to continue their drought of not making the playoffs. Let's see. 12. So we that's all for the play-in bubble category. Going on to tanking, pretty self-explanatory. Spurs, I mean, DeRozan left. They lost Aldridge, obviously, last season. This might be Popovich's last year. I wouldn't be surprised if it was. I mean, they have Keldon Johnson. They have DeJounte Murray. Right now, unless something prominent happened, they're not making the playoffs. They're not going to be in the bubble, or they're not going to make the play-in. They're going to be probably tanking. Obviously, along with the Rockets, they're going to be a fun team, as I said in not my last video, but I made a video on the Rockets. Jalen Green, Kevin Porter Jr., they're going to be fun to watch. They're not going to be they're probably not going to be very good. They're obviously going to be tanking. They have a lot of picks. And as with the Oklahoma City Thunder, obviously you got Shea. Hopefully they don't shut him down at the end of the season like they did last year. Let the kid play. Obviously they have a lot of picks. And I'm not sure they're going to be as fun of a team as the Rockets, but they do have a lot of young players. I'm going to watch them. A lot of people probably won't. But, yeah. This is kind of this is how I think things are going to play out this season, at least from the Western Conference. Eastern Conference video coming very soon. I'm probably going to record it right after this one. Going to upload them different days, obviously. You'll see this one first. Eastern Conference video probably Monday, I think, hopefully. We'll see. If anything changes, I'll update on Twitter. Other than that, that's all for me. See you, folks.